Hello and welcome to episode 130 of the DaebakCast. This is a weekly podcast where the three of us, but this time four of us, come together each week to talk about K-pop and whatever's current in the K-pop industry. This week, we got a review, we got three topics, we got special guest Umu, who I guess I'll introduce first since
Who goes
she's
off?
the special
She
guest.
goes off camera right as you
Goes off.
introduce.
She's like, oh, actually, we actually have Brian this week.
Oh my
Yes.
god.
Yes.
The DAY6
Let me find all my
connections.
Brian pics in my room.
All right, so I guess in case you didn't know, Umu, she is the, as she says, channel runner of ReacttotheK, which I'm sure you already knew that, which is probably why you're already here as well. So yeah, if you want to, I guess, introduce yourself to people who don't know you, which is very few, but you know.
Yeah, people who don't know me, I am a classical musician and I attend a college where I have other classical musicians, some are jazz musicians, basically analyze K-pop on YouTube, and it's fun. And we talk about music from a musician's point of view. Yeah.
Dope. All right, and now, as always, I'm joined by Nate.
Let's get ready to rumble. Yes,
You're getting-
Ailey put those lyrics in her single. It's
Dude.
ridiculous.
She's gonna get sued by Michael Buffer.
Exactly. It was so
All right.
ridiculous. Since I wasn't here for that review. Although I think I said that several times in my review.
Now, also, as always, I'm joined by Andrew, who usually has three things.
Usually, but I mean, I could just talk about lighter sort of topic stuff, but I guess something more important happened over the past week. So on Thursday, July 18th, Kyoto Animation, a anime studio in Japan, was the target of an arson attack, and so yeah, I just wanted to sort of like maybe go over it a bit. Like 34 people perished, unfortunately, due to the arson attack. 35 people were injured, and all of their sort of like materials and computers were destroyed. So as a huge, anime fan, weeb, whatever, fan of a lot of their work, it just really hit me hard. Just hearing about it and just seeing, Kyoto Animation just making like front page news everywhere, even in the United States, over something like this. And they really, they don't deserve it at all, because they make some of the most beautiful work. So just as a sort of, I guess, sort of informational thing, one of their American distributors, Sentai Filmworks, started a GoFundMe to help, sort of assist in anything that they need, whether it be, financial or just anything that they need to sort of replace equipment. Unfortunately, you can't replace the lives, but anything that can help right now would definitely benefit them. So the initial goal was only like $750,000, and in the past 4 days they're closing in on $2 million in terms of donations. So I'll leave the link to the donation in the description if you want to support them. Also you can support them by they have this shop on their, like, a website sort of thing, and it's like a digital shop, so it's like buying like high quality wallpapers essentially of just like the different like anime characters or whatever. So that's a good way to support, since they don't have to like process like shipping and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I just wanted to like bring that up. It's definitely something that affected me a lot, because I'm a huge, like, there's an entire list of like stuff that they've done, from like Full Metal Panic, Air, Haruhi Suzumiya, Canon, Lucky Star, Clannad, K-On!, Nichijou, Hyoka, Love, Chunibyo and Other Delusions, Free, Beyond the Boundary, Hibike Euphonium, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Violet Evergarden, A Silent Voice, like all of that.
No!
All of that was them, and yeah, it definitely hit me hard. I know, Umu, you're a big fan of Clannad. That defines your entire life, so
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Recently, Violet Evergarden.
Yeah, Violet Evergarden was amazing too. So yeah, definitely.
Come on.
Please, assist in any way you can. If you can't do it financially, just you can let us know what your favorite KyoAni memories or KyoAni shows were. But yeah, just keep them in your thoughts, keep them in your prayers. It was the second most deadliest attack in Japanese history. So yeah, that's really all I want to talk to about today in three things before we get into less or lighter topics. So yeah, that's it.
Horrible. I heard about it lightly when it happened. I was hanging out with like my anime friends, but I didn't know which anime they produced.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's like all my favorite ones. That's
yeah,
great.
all my favorite ones. Like I spent so much like time watching all of their. Like I literally the week before the incident happened, I watched like the movie of Hibike Euphonium, and they were like posting these like facts about like. Because it's, for those that don't know, Hibike Euphonium, Sound Euphonium is a story about like a high school, like concert band sort of thing. And they, like their attention to detail for the animation is so much that they recorded people
Pretty darn good.
performing the actual like pieces that they were like including in the animation. They recorded like their hand movements and like their lip movements and everything just to like nail down the accuracy of it. And, you know, it's nothing short of beautiful, and it just really hurt me. I know you guys, Jacob and Nate. I know you have definitely have an affinity to some of their shows as well. I know Nate, you said Haruhi, really big show for you as well.
My favorite anime.
I was just talking to my friend this weekend. Like, I was like, if you want something that isn't super plot heavy and it's just fun and feels good, watch K-On!
Yeah, K-On!
Yeah,
Just
K-On!
another like all these like really big influential shows in anime, and I mean it's stuff that like crosses over into Korea as well in terms of popularity. So, yeah, again, just donate, please. Just do whatever you can to help them. Jacob, you don't have blown out.
No, I don't.
Hashtag no blown out.
Yeah,
Hashtag
no, that's the thing. We have an audience now. We need to get so Umu's audience. If you haven't been turned away by the sad news of Kyoani,
I mean, 9,001 copies.
Yeah, you
of
know,
Blown Out.
somebody.
And I'll make a throne of them, and I'll sit in it every episode.
No, so Blown Out is a like poem book written by Tableau of Epic High. So he'd always read out of it, but we haven't been able to find it for the past 2 years. So
I found it again. It's on my
Jacob
bookshelf
needed
over there.
an introduction, so he decided to read out of it as his introduction, and he did it for literally like 2 weeks, and then lost the book.
So,
yeah, no, it's just
so
a meme
okay.
that
So
I don't know where it is.
everyone tweet at Tableau and tell him to get
Jacob on the podcast.
No, get Jacob a signed copy of.
Go get Tableau on our podcast. Come on,
that's
man.
true. And Eric Nam,
Tell
since
him
he stole
how
our
I'm
name.
Yeah, since he stole our name, you're like, hey, can you get Eric Nam to come as well? Because we got to take him to court. So
we do have to take him to court for stealing our podcast name.
Anyway.
yes. All right. Anyways, I guess we can get into the first topic, which will probably take the longest.
You forgot the most important thing. We have a bunch of new listeners. They need to join our Discord. They need to subscribe. They need to like. They need to click the bell. You got to do all that garbage. Follow us on Twitter. I think that's everything. But most importantly, join our Discord if you want like cool people to talk to about K-pop. But you also have to be okay with your views being challenged, because we like to argue about everything all the time. So, but it's all in lighthearted fun.
All right, now we can get into the first topic, unless we have another thing that I forgot again.
Go for it.
All right.
No, but Umu's frozen. Okay, we're back. Sorry about technical difficulties. But we're starting with topic 1, which is DAY6's new mini album, The Book of Us Gravity, which Umu has a physical copy of, but you can't see it anymore because
she was showing it earlier.
That's true. You were showing it before.
Insert footage.
We've lost her video, if you couldn't tell, but that's because her internet is not good enough to handle it, I guess. We're assuming.
Too much power. Okay.
So just audio only for Umu now. But don't worry, if you're a fan, she's still here. She's still gonna rant about DAY6 for an hour, probably.
Yes.
Okay, so we're starting off with the first song in the album, For Me. Just for me. Me.
Only
myself.
for Nate.
Yes, specifically me.
Go at it.
For me, the song, like, oh wow, I did not even mean that to come out that way. The opening makes me feel like it's gonna start out like a crazy 80s Olympics anthem, if that makes sense. Like, the instrumentals sound like that type of song. Like, it's some sort of song they're gonna use for the Olympics back in the 80s. But then the guitar comes in and it becomes like a bit more normal. Although if you listen in the background, the instrumentals kind of keep that vibe throughout. I thought the song was kind of interesting because it's a bit of a midpoint for DAY6 in terms of music. It doesn't go as hard as like some of their stuff, but it's not as soft as their ballad. It's definitely like a mid tier, like just energy level for DAY6, which honestly I feel like, I mean, I haven't listened to them in a while, but it seems like most of their stuff is either like really hard or like more ballady. So getting something a little in the middle was interesting. And then the vocals were pretty much what you'd expect, meaning they were good. Go ahead, Umu.
Oh, okay. So I'm going second. All right.
Yeah.
So this is for me that we're talking about.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I have what I wrote down after 3 more listens after my first listen. And then I have what I wrote down about the lyrics after I listened to it several times. So first, the technical view is one of the reasons why I didn't really feel very interested in the song is because it is, I feel like, one of the most predictable DAY6 songs just because of its chord progression and how the melody goes exactly where it's supposed to go. Like, basically what makes this song feel good is because it actually does the music like classical music theory rules. It has a bunch of PACs, which are perfect authentic cadences, and it resolves on one every single time. So it's feel good when you're listening to it. You're like, oh, I know where it's gonna go, and it's gonna go there, and it just you feel that like like warmth from just knowing what it's going to be like. And so personally, like I don't like knowing where it's going to go, so that's why it wasn't one of my favorites. But like I feel like similar to BTS's Microcosmos, it's in compound meter and feel good. So like what is there to complain about other than just like my stupid technical things? But like love the part when I was first listening to it. I never even like mentioned this, so I need to mention it now. But when Sungjin was singing in the bridge, "Tell me now," like his voice is like, normal growly, right? But then when he says "now," like sudden growl, like just crescendos, and it's like, oh my god, Sungjin, where'd that come from? And then I looked at the lyrics, so I know my days watching, you guys told me after you watched, or like in the comment section of my reaction to the title track, like, oh my goodness, when you do your first listen, please check out the lyrics. So when I do my first listens, it's honestly easiest and quickest for me if I just shoot through listening to the audio, just buying the whole album on iTunes, so I know it's really good audio quality, and not look at the lyrics, so I can concentrate on the music, because I cannot do lyrics and music at the same time. Otherwise, I'll totally miss what everything that's going on. And then I can't do it afterwards, because then that just lengthens the time of my first listen. And I usually listen to at least 8 songs for every single time I sit down and record. And then, like my brain starts dying. And so I saved lyric reading for this podcast. And so I read for me's lyrics, and at first I thought, oh, so you're talking about someone else, right? But then I realized, oh wait, no, the lyrics are about you, at you, right? Like at yourself, if I interpreted that correctly. I was like, oh damn. And when I first listened to this song, or actually like when I listened to this song without knowing what the lyrics were, I just thought, oh my goodness, this is just so happy. It's just happy. It's compound meter, like no sadness to it. But then when you read the lyrics, it adds a tinge of sadness to it, which made me tear up. Yeah. Okay. That's what I've got for me.
Okay.
I mean, I usually don't end up looking at lyric. I explained this in a comment before because somebody was talking about we reviewed Ailey last week, but I don't know. I try not to look at it just because I don't. Well, one, I translation and everything, and 2, I don't want it to necessarily beholden me to like, oh, I didn't like the lyrics, so I don't like the song. So I try to just focus mostly on music primarily. If the lyrics are relevant or like their theme, I feel like it comes across enough in terms of the instrumentation. So I feel lyrics definitely sort of are a supplementary, or just it adds on to like, so I guess, the enjoyment. But I don't feel, at least with K-pop, it's necessarily a requirement. But anyway, on to for me. I'd say. Yeah, maybe you kind of summed up how I feel maybe just about the entire album, but in terms of just this song specifically, I'd say it was one of the few standouts, I guess, just because I'm a sucker for like 80s music. So basically, this is like the specific notes I wrote was that for me, like how happy it is, just how anthemic the guitars feel. Kind of reminds me of some, like, I don't know, like Tears for Fears would do, just with a lot more guitars. Like these like really, and then the drumming that Dolan's just doing, just like these really chunky like duh duh duh, just like heavy ass quarter notes that you just basically just, it screams like 80s to me. So yeah, I mean, it's nothing that's breaking ground necessarily. It's just a really good solid opening track, I feel.
Yep.
So what I said was, I liked how they were kind of like with the first track of this song, kind of continuing on with their like synthy 80s pop style, like rock music from their last album, and kind of transitioning in that way. And I guess, they kind of like pick right up where they left off with their last EP. Also, I like how like forward the vocals are kind of placed in the mix, and I feel like also like the sort of like trotting instrumentals are also to thank for how like high up the vocals are kind of propped up on the pedestal of sorts of the song. And I like that because a lot of times a lot of songs like this, I feel like get kind of trapped in that. A lot of times the vocals are kind of start sinking into the instrumentals because they're so like big and loud. So I was glad they
good level work.
made the vocals nice and clear. Also, like what Uma was saying in the bridge, I really like how much gravel Sungjin was singing with. It was that
Gravel,
definitely
that's the
stood out
word.
to me.
Gravel.
Yeah, so he's got a bunch of gravel in his throat. But yeah, overall, it's certainly not outside of DAY6's like pre-existing wheelhouse, but I still think it was a definitely a solid track. So I liked it.
Yeah. Next we have sorry. Next we have Time of Our Life, which is the single. We're back to J-Rock anime theme song DAY6. And this is probably their most anime theme song sounding song yet. It's just like, just listening to the song, if you listen or if you watch anime and like know theme songs, you can literally picture where like the different cuts are in the opening of the anime, like where they like fast cut to characters and like other stuff. I'm like, this is it literally fits it so well. It even has like that weird like cut build right before the chorus. And it has like group vocal like hey chanting and group vocal chanting, and just everything about it was so anime theme song. I really do like the accented guitar part during the pre-chorus, if I'm remembering what part it is correctly. But like during the guitar part, that's just like there's some very accented notes. And as for the music video, it's pretty typical band music video. Just them playing with like a lot of lighting effects. I did like the giant book set thing though. And it was a good use of like, I use that as the screenshot. And then they did a good job of using like colors and like retro styling though. But for the most part, it's pretty standard.
Okay. So yeah, I pretty much agree with what you said. So I'm just going to read exactly from my notes. I said, when analyzing it, looking at it from a technical view, this is definitely not maybe one of my top 10 DAY6 title tracks, but DAY6 is, and like I read a bunch of interviews that they did, and their intentions for this track and this whole album is just so freaking pure. They wanted to make their audience feel good, and they wanted the tracks to be dance tracks for their live performances, which I think they absolutely nailed in this album. So I watched a live performance video, and the chorus, the da da da, It's G C E flat. It just like I was speechless afterwards because like yeah, it's amazing in the studio version, but when when they sing
hear
it
it
live
live.
and nail it,
Mm.
it's insane because it's the intervals like usually in pop music when there's a leap, it's usually a fifth, so there's 5 notes or I guess there's four notes in between the first note they start and the last note that they land on. But this one, there's a fourth interval and then it goes to a third. So it's not a typical thing that you hear really fast and really high. So it's a really difficult line. And also just
Yeah.
shout out to Jenny's solo because she did something similar. It might have been an octave, but also it was really fast. And I was like, oh damn, that line takes skill to sing. And I forgot to say that in my reaction, and I'm angry at myself because that was like my favorite part of solo. Anyways, okay. So also while listening to this multiple times, I realized how tired I am of the chant trope. I'm just really tired of it. It was in almost every single song in this album, and I felt like they did it first, I think, with Better Better, which first listen I thought it was a little bit cheesy because that's what Kevin thought, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna think the same way because I was like, oh, it's pretty cool, and then he's like, oh my god, seriously? I was like, oh, okay, I'll develop that attitude too. But anyways, I got used to it the more I listened to it on my own, and I loved it. And then I think that it worked so well with Shoot Me during the bridge, and it was really powerful, and it had like
Bang,
this
bang.
mob. Yeah, exactly. I'm okay, so hurt me. The unison singing. But okay, so this is something definitely controversial, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but just personally, it's what irks me about it is that the unison chant-like singing is so obviously specifically for live performances for your audience to sing.
Yeah.
Like it's specifically written for that. And like I guess it makes me sound kind of snobbish to say that when you write like that, it isn't necessarily to write art, if that makes any sense at all. Like I feel
no.
like their use. Yeah, go ahead.
That makes sense though. I mean, because I feel like I know some people do like write intentionally towards like a performance, like live environment, but I feel like a good song is just going to be a good song live regardless of whether you're tailoring it for that. So I don't feel that I do feel a lot of the like the chanting might be a bit like OD or overdone at this point in terms of DAY6's style. So yeah, I feel like you just write what you want to write. Yeah, don't feel the need to like tailor it for like live performances because most people aren't going to see them live anyway. I mean, like granted, they do go on tours all the time, so maybe you are, but.
Yeah, because I feel like the unison use, the bridge of Shoot Me was in a way art. It was about creating the story of having a group of people sing together. When this is like, I think probably the majority, if not all songs, like a lot of K-pop songs. I was talking to songwriters and they said, with K-pop, you think outside in, you think performance first before you think anything else.
Yeah.
So it's a totally normal thing to write for live stage and nothing else. But I guess it's just like a personal thing that I prefer. When I hear the studio version, I want to be able to connect with it musically there rather than just live. Because like this time around, I might not be able to see DAY6 live. And if I see these songs live, I know I'm gonna freaking love it. I'm gonna sing along during those unison parts. But like if I don't see it live, then my opinion may stay the same. So not all people will be able to see how it is intended to be performed. Then next I wrote that I love Jay's bridge. Oh my goodness. One of my favorite things in music is when you can tell that the singer is smiling.
Yeah, you can tell.
The part. Yeah, when the Jay sings like "Have the time of our lives," like you can tell
he's a smiley
really
boy in
smiling
general.
while recording that. Yes, exactly, and I love that extra emotion. Did I write at all about the lyrics? I said lyrics are. Oh. So it seems like the lyrics could be either towards a lover or a friend, and I felt like I could relate it towards this person. One of my best friends I haven't seen for I think over a year, and she's like my favorite person to hang out with. She's like I'm with her and she just makes me happy, and we haven't seen each other forever. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can relate these lyrics to my relationship with her because the next time we see each other, we have that on our calendar. and we're gonna like when we see each other, we're gonna like look back on our lives and we can create a page. Like that's what I got through the lyrics for this song.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, how relatable.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, your turn. Yep.
Okay, so I guess sort of to follow up on that, or follow up specifically on what Nate mentioned about it being very, DAY6 J-Rock style, very anime opening. Definitely sounds like it'd belong on like some slice of life show, like, I don't know, just like Bunny Girl Senpai or something like that. Just sounds really perfect for that type of show, maybe. I'd say probably in terms of what I did like about this song, favorite part I'd say would be sort of the intro. Just I love the piano melody. Just like, and they have this like electric drum track going on in the background. Just really nice opening. Also, starting off the verse with Young K Brian was a nice idea because I feel like it's usually whenever they start off songs, it's either like Sungjin or Jay, because I guess they do a lot of the heavy lifting. But I do like his vocals. I like his vocals a lot just on the album in general. So the pre-chorus has a nice build up, like harmonies, really cool sort of like pivoted like key change for that sort of like build. I'd say where it falls flat for me is the chorus, just because maybe I'm just a weirdo because like the vocal melody they do is pretty interesting, but I'd say what throws me off a lot about this song is like, okay, so they're doing this drum pattern with Doon. It's just like, it's like really fast, like snare, like pedal, snare, pedal, like really fast sort of thing. And I usually just, as a avid listener of rock music, for me, it's a style or just like a sort of technique that's for me, it's just kind of associated with something that you save for like a final chorus when you're just trying to like build up the energy for the song.
Oh.
And they're starting off with it, which kind of threw me off. And the weird thing is, yeah, I mean, you can follow up if you want.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, what you're saying, it makes sense because the energy level starts off immediately and then just continues throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have no ebb and flow with rhythm or energy or anything.
Yeah, and I feel
no
like
climax really.
Yeah, that ebb and flow I feel is important most of all in rock music. I feel just because it's very much a loud music genre, so like just getting like I feel you need to have that ebb and flow so that it's like dynamics for any type of music. If any of you guys know, like basically you don't have to, my music teacher would always tell me you don't have to have your like highest highs be like noise shattering, and you don't have to have your lowest lows be like you need to be a dog to hear it. You just need to build a difference between make the difference between your highest highs and your lowest lows noticeable enough. So yeah. Dynamics 101.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess to sort of like follow up on that, basically there's a part of the chorus where they do sort of revert to like a traditional like 1 2 1 2 3 like sort of drum pattern. So I feel like if they switched it around, it might have not sounded weird to me. I mean, that's just like a really like super like, I don't know, just nitpick on my end, but I'd say for the most part I still enjoy the song, though I'd wish, and I do sort of, it's a song you definitely tell that they enjoyed recording, and I feel like that's one thing I do respect about DAY6 is that they basically, their insistence or their modus operandum is just recording music that they like. But I'd say I do miss, I guess, sort of the ambitiousness that they went for with, Shoot Me or Days Gone By. So yeah, this definitely, I guess, is more me, like par for the course in terms of their singles. I mean, it's enjoyable, but I wouldn't put it anywhere near my top 5 DAY6 singles.
Yeah.
Jacob?
All right, so from what I said was like immediately like from the high momentum like piano intro to like the fast but lighthearted guitars right in the intro. I think this, at least instrumental wise, is definitely the most anime opening sounding or J-Rock inspired track that they released so far. And yeah, like Nate said, like you can like, if in your head you can like visualize exactly when they like change the scenes, and when it's showing like a fighting scene or a character's face or like something like that, like it works really well in that way as like an intro to literally anything. But yeah, so so with the shouting stuff, I thought it worked pretty well in this. I liked how they had kind of like a call and reply mechanic kind of going in some of the chorus sections. And so I agree with Andrew on that. Like it sort of like starts out high energy, but I kind of liked that about Doan's drumming in this song, and like it only like went up more once it was like heading towards more like high energy sections. So I think it still worked for me at least. And yeah, so like for me, I personally thought Doan's drumming was like one of the big highlights of the song for me. I just love how like high energy it is. And I also like how in the song it kind of like cleared out the instrumentals to bring everything back together to build up to the final chorus. I thought that was really cool. And while I don't think this beats some of the highs that we experienced in like Sunrise, for example, I do think this was a really strong title track in its own right, in my opinion. So.
Next we have How to Love. I love the retro feel of this song. Like it starts out and you kind of think we're gonna get more of like a jazzy like lounge sound. It picks up more eventually, but then like the chorus is a bit of like big band like Motown feel with the synths kind of imitating brass sound. I just really liked that feel to it. And also I really like the call and response parts of the song. I thought those fit really well as the guitar effects during the verses. Overall, it's one of my favorite songs, probably.
Ooh, yeah. I felt like this song would have fit their "Remember Us" album because of the throwback feels with the MIDI horn line and strings. I don't have too many notes for this song, but I said on more listens, I noticed more of the layers, which was pretty fun. Like in the pre-chorus, I listened to this so many times. I think that the guitar and bass line do something different first pre-chorus and second pre-chorus. For the first pre-chorus, like first the guitar has a faster moving pattern and then the bass guitar has a faster moving pattern and then the guitar does, and like all of this is like really in the background, so you have to like really turn up your your volume in order to hear this. But it was really fun. Then like I can't remember how I reacted to this first time through, but like man, this bass line in this song, like my best friend's boyfriend is a bassist and he told me to send him a song whenever I thought the bass line is good. So this is one of those songs that I'm gonna send to him. And yep, that's all I wrote.
Like on paper, I should have enjoyed this song a lot more. Yeah, it has a really nice bass line, as you said. There's some like cowbell in there. Always need more of that. I feel like in retrospect, though, I feel like it's kind of the weakest song on the album for me. I guess maybe just because it is kind of a bit of retreaded territory in terms of we definitely. I think they did a single that sounded like this. I can't remember it just off the top of my head, but it definitely does sound a bit familiar. It kind of sucks because it probably has one of my favorite moments in the entire album, because there's this part in the bridge where Brian.
The high note, Young K?
Yeah. There's like vibrato and everything. We're just like, what the hell? Where did this come from? Why haven't they been using this? Oh man, yeah. So that's probably the favorite part of the song. Yeah, I mean, like that's the only reason I like this song at all, just because of the incredible vibrato part. I did not know he had it in him at all, just because, like, I know he does high notes, but damn, that was just some incredible like vocal vibrato.
Yo, see, the thing is, you have to watch their behind the scenes videos because he just like walks around in the background just riffing like crazy, like you never heard in any of their songs. And then you need to see, like, have you seen them live?
Yeah, I've seen them live.
Yeah, we saw them live.
Okay.
I haven't.
Because I guess he doesn't go full force live here yet. But like, yeah, once you like marathon like all their behind the scenes videos, like you know that like, oh my goodness, and all their covers, you know what he can do. And you just have to prepare yourself every single album, like what he's gonna do this time. It's like he's unlocking new powers with each comeback. Like,
yeah.
I can rap. Second one is I can sing low and sound really good. Third one is I can sing really high. Fourth one is you know do this crazy high note with really wobbly vibrato. Like he's just showing what he can do.
So yeah, that's all I thought about it though. Jacob. What are your thoughts?
So for me, the first thing that stood out was how they decided to start like right out of the gate with one peel, which is something they don't usually do, I don't think.
They need to do that more. His voice
yeah,
is
I liked
amazing.
it. I thought his intro right in the beginning was awesome. And I love once again how like forward the vocals appear in the song. And then I think there's synth strings that they're using in the instrumentals. Yeah, but which I did like, but I wish they used a bit more electric guitar on this, either that or like make them louder in the mix. I think could have brightened the mood of the song even more than it already was. But yeah, overall it's a strong track either way. So
Yep. Next we have "Wanna Go Back," and what
the
the hell is
future.
that opening? The opening is so weird, but I think it leads into like a really great instrumental, though. I think there's a great mix of guitar and bass in the instrumentals for the song. It's just got that like nice mid-tempo, like funky vibe to it. Another song that kind of gives off that retro vibe, like you said, would fit on their last album. And I like how the song lingers at the end. That definitely stood out to me. It kind of like the way the song ends, and it's hard to describe, but yeah, it just feels like it lingers, and I thought that was a really interesting way to end the song.
Okay, so for me, I don't know whether this is going to be posted before or after my first listen is released, but I actually accidentally skipped over the song. And like 5 hours 5 hours later, as I was like going through like the video before like sending it to someone else to edit, I was like, oh my goodness, wait, I only listened to 4 tracks. Wait, where's the fifth? And then I realized that I accidentally skipped this. So I
Whoopsie.
listened to this at the very end, and I think like overall, like I ended up having kind of more of a negative opinion, but like, man, these lyrics are
Oh, the lyrics
so
are good?
relatable. Like literally right before we started our call, I was just sobbing my face off because I can relate to these lyrics. Like Actong musicians will last forever. Anything about wanting to go back to your childhood, like I extremely relate to right now because I don't want to be a responsible 21-year-old. I just want to
Hell
be
no.
5, not know the shit that's going on in the world, just playing with fairies and dragons and mermaids and
I don't want to pay
drawing
taxes.
and ignoring the internet. Oh my god, yeah, no taxes. Anyways, yeah, okay, so I also really enjoyed I like after delving into it more the rhythmic surprise at the beginning, because when at the very beginning, if you don't quite know where to bob your head, but then when the chords you come in, you think, okay, that's the strong beat. So then you start bobbing your head to when those chords come in, which makes it, yeah. So basically, you think that's the downbeat, but actually, those chords are actually on beat 4, and the whole thing is just super rhythmically syncopated. And I love the verses melodies. The first melody, I guess the second melody is also pretty similar, or verse melody, but it doesn't really feel typical to me. I couldn't really predict what the melody was, nor could I predict immediately like what the scale degrees were, because when a melody easily follows chord progression, you can be like, oh, it's this specific note that's being played right now, and I'm like, wait, what are these intervals? I can't quite figure it out, so I like it. And then the chorus, it really reminds me of Be Lazy. Their song Be Lazy, the B-side track. Never be lazy.
Almost the same melody too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I also feel like it's actually mixed with like a YG vibe. Like it kind of reminds me of Winner's group sound, right? And then in summary, I just really freaking love the verses. I don't like the chorus, but my complaint is probably not going to last long, because after I read those lyrics, like I just started crying, and I don't know. It's so weird because there are certain songs that I listen to that I don't like at all, and then I read the lyrics and it does nothing. But like this song, I didn't dislike it. I just wasn't, mind blown by it. But now that I know the lyrics, I like it even more. So I guess it really just depends on how much I dislike a song for the lyrics to affect or not affect.
Yeah.
And then I with this song and this album, and I think it's ever since Stop the Rain, I feel like DAY6 has started a love, like wanting to change the chords on an offbeat, so they like they're ba 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 ba, like on the and beat, the weak
Yeah.
beat. So they love syncopated progressions now. Your turn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know you were done,
Yes.
but I mean, it's a great thing for me to follow up on just because, well, I think I liked it a lot initially. I didn't have a negative reaction just because, again, I'm a huge fan of just like this sort of 70s, 80s sound. Again, I feel like this song is probably the most similar to Days Gone By in terms of vibe and just sort of just how twangy the guitars are. Just, again, it has a super sort of vintage feel to I guess the instrumentation, and it's not, you wouldn't really get that without this really well. I like the chord progression because I feel it's pretty much persistent both through the verse and the chorus, like very sort of similar type of progression in both areas. So I like the consistency between that. Also, the most important part of the song, friggin' Doon has the line of the goddamn year.
I saw that coming. I was like,
I didn't.
Okay,
I did
listened to
not.
this whole album, and Doon hasn't sung yet. It's gonna be in this song.
I'm just like, yeah. I'm actually, yeah. As much as I love his voice, just because he has such a deep baritone type of voice compared to most of the rest of DAY6. I like that they use him sparingly, so that whenever you hear it, it's just like an oh my god, like special type of moment. So yeah, that's pretty much like Doon essentially sealed my enjoyment of this song just because he has a line in this. I don't think I hate any song that he has lines in. So I'm just happy that the little drummer boy gets to sing too.
All right, so going off the last song, coming from it rather, which I wanted to hear a little more guitar on, this definitely satisfies that request.
Yeah, definitely.
It's interesting because like Uma was saying, it kind of sounds a little bit like Winter. I could totally see this being produced as like a tropical house song, but I'm glad they stuck with like the traditional like guitar instrumentals, because I think it I don't know, it's still nice and summery, and it's not I think if they did that, it would have ended up being too generic, whereas I feel like right here how it is more classic, I guess. So I like the use of pauses between the guitar strums that they use during one of One Peel's verses towards the middle. And then another thing I'd like to shout out is the drumming again. I thought it was really nice and like full sounding during the bridge, which I thought was pretty cool. And then after the bridge, again, I was like, was that a Doan verse? So yeah, I also like that part as well.
Off guard. Because I'm sure it throws people who like don't know like members as closely or just like listen to the music. They just like they're familiar with the voices and they're just like, who is this person? Is there a guest vocal on this track?
Yeah.
Don't needs more love.
His because of he still has braces, right? Or did he get his braces off?
I have no idea.
I don't think he has them.
Because I'm kind of curious
Fact-checking
how they would incorporate him in the future, because I feel like his talking and singing, it's just his character, he kind of talks like a kid, right? Am I wrong? It's like this little light childish innocenceness that came through when he sang too. So if they have more of him singing, it will be just small moments like this where it's in a lighter vibe and it's okay to have this new sudden like youth with a voice, because I really feel like his voice has that the others don't have. So like I'm curious to see if they incorporate him more, like how to do that.
So moral of the story, don't take his braces off even when his teeth are like perfect. Just leave him in till he's like 40 years old and he's not an idol anymore.
You all good, Jacob? Is that everything?
Oh yeah.
On the song? Yeah. Okay. Next we have cover.
Which isn't a cover.
It's not a cover. It's a ballad, but it's a really cool one. The different guitar parts being split into different channels is like a really cool idea, really cool effect that it gives off. And honestly, I barely paid attention to the rest of the song because of it. I was just like so focused on listening to the two guitar parts. Obviously the vocals are fantastic. The piano part was great. But yeah, that guitar part was just really, really cool.
Bros, I really
Yes.
freaking love this song.
Yes.
Yep.
You know, DAY6. Okay, so I know we've all had this conversation before about ballads, and as I've started listening to every single K-pop song released while I'm asleep to my daily schedule, I've run into more and more and more ballads. And yes, they actually do all sound the same because they play to the same ballad tropes, which a lot of people love. So I'm not saying, oh my goodness, it's bad. How no, there's a reason why you love a lot of ballads or dislike a lot of ballads. It's because they all do similar things. But I don't think, at least all the DAY6 songs I own, they never compose a bad ballad song.
Yeah, no, not a single one is bad.
Every single one just would not go on my every single ballads ever playlist, which I have created, and Sean and I will be composing a song, possibly called Every Single Ballad Ever, where it will sound like every single ballad ever.
Please do
specifically
that.
K ballad ever. Okay,
So in the same vein as like the show must go on, or
it would just not with the vocalist. It wouldn't be. We'd probably have like normal ballad instrumentation. It would literally be written like a pop song, maybe a tiny bit longer, so we can include more tropes, or we'll just try and smash all the tropes into one 3-minute, 40-second, or 4-minute song. And if I don't know, Sean wants me to be the vocalist, but I still don't think I'm that good.
Do it.
So maybe I'll get a few vocal lessons and I'll be the vocalist, and then we'll have piano and guitar and strings.
If
you
want to hear
even
Umu,
like a drum set that comes at the end.
If you want to hear Umu sing, leave a like. Leave 69 in the comments so we know that we know that you all want to see Umu sing.
Oh my god. Please don't. It will or will not happen. We'll try. We'll get a better vocalist than me. Anyways, okay. Moving on to covers. So the piano rhythm is Bill Withers' "Lean on Me." You know, lean on me, ba da ba ba. When I'm not strong, and I'll be your friend. So, except of course, like they use the rhythm differently, but like that's the first thing that popped into my mind when I listened to it.
Yeah, same thing. The instant I heard this, I was like, this sounds like a John Lennon song.
Yeah, so they use that, but like in "Lean on Me," the syncopated one da da, that is echoed in the vocal line. So it's in both the piano and the vocal line. But here, the melody doesn't always have the same rhythmic pattern as the instrumental. Some, like, I think once or twice it lines up, but then the syncopation is used like as a transition between phrases. And then it's not too common for a bridge to do a half step by half step by half step modulation up and then back down and then back up. Like that was
it was all over the place.
I'm like, wait, did it just do like steps up to the original key, like just going up a scale? But then like I plunked it out on the piano and it's like half step up, half step up, half step up, and then it goes down, and then like maybe it's like a minor third leap up, and then it ends in the key that it started in. And like another song that does that is Taeyong's "This Christmas." In her bridge, she just keeps modulating up and up and up and up until she arrives in the original key, which I think it's really, really good for an energy build. And so I am so surprised they didn't modulate one last time after the drum fill. Like, because I'm like, if I ever meet DAY6, one of the very first questions I'm going to ask them is like, you had two chances, one in cover and one in congratulations, where like almost any other artist would modulate in the third chorus. Like you 100% like set up musically for a key change in the last chorus, but you didn't. Tell me why. Like, what is a modulation to you? That's what I asked them. And then I love the harmonic. So, okay, sorry, I have a lot of notes. So basically at the intro, when the piano is playing a chord, it lasts for 4 beats, and then it plays another chord, it lasts for 4 beats, but then the guitar changes 2 beats. And then the verse 1 starts, and then the piano continues to have a harmony that lasts 4 beats, except it's released on the 4th beat, so we have silence every 4th beat. So it's the same harmonic rhythm, but on variation on it. And then the pre-chorus come, and when James comes in, the chords start changing every 2 beats. So like this has been like 20 seconds, and we've already have like
so many changes
happening. And then the chorus has no more steady harmonic changing on strong, because we have that syncopated lean on me 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's what I love, is that the vocal line really emphasizes the weak beat before the downbeat. So it emphasizes the 3 and 4, and it's like da, 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 da. Like it's hard to say that without like all the instrumental going on behind my singing. But then the second half of the chorus is the same harmonic rhythm but different harmony. I wrote that down, but I cannot picture it in my mind right now. And then the second verse, a lot of the material returns, but there's a new electric guitar line. And yeah, just overall, I think this song was both rhythmically and it was just gorgeous. And like I felt like it's kind of like a bittersweet song, but then I read the lyrics and it just makes it so much more depressing. I was like, oh, this is sad. This is really sad. So now I know how to feel into this. Your turn.
Okay. This probably could have been a single, in all honesty, because I mean, it is drawing upon the same, type of emotions and sort of same type of like feel that they had with like Congratulations and Letting Go. Basically, like that was like before they started doing the whole like every DAY6 anime song type thing. Like that was DAY6's bread and butter, like back in like 2016. So yeah, it's a sound I don't necessarily like. I don't mind them returning to this just because they do it so well. Like again, like we mentioned, they don't do boring ballads, and this is no exception, especially in terms of how strong this piano section is. Just it feels like the highlight of the entire just song. Also, it's interesting you're drawing comparisons to sort of I guess very similar songs to what I'm drawing comparisons to, because I thought of like the Beatles. Like it's straight up like if you want an incredible listening experience, listen to Cover and then go listen to Let It Be like back to back. It'll just blow your mind, because it's almost like the same sort of thing. It's like do 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 do, and then it's like let it be, like it like the first time the first time I realized it, it's just like this is why I don't do drugs. I just need to listen to songs that sound the same. It's just I get enough enjoyment out of it. And also just again sort of carrying upon that Beatles sort of similarity to it. The drum section in this, again, I know it's nothing too crazy, or like you're not getting like double bass or whatever. It's definitely something I like Ringo Starr's playbook in terms of how the build up is, and the fill towards the end is straight up a Ringo Starr style like fill. Like again, I feel like he got such a like the bad I don't know, just time hasn't I guess treated him well necessarily in terms of like prolific drummers of all time or whatever. But I mean, what the stuff he was doing, like especially back in the 70s, was just, and with as simple of a kit as just literally just like a tom, a snare, like a crash hi-hat, basically he had the most basic of kits, but he was able to do such incredible technical, sort of things on their music. And I definitely feel a lot of that in this song. So if I'm drawing Beatles comparisons, I guess that's just that goes to show in a nutshell just how much I love this song. And it probably is my favorite one on the entire album, in all honesty. I can't get sick of this in all honesty. So yeah, it almost makes me wish that it was the single, just because I feel it would have been just as epic as having Time of Our Life as the single.
Yeah, I feel like this is like on par with all. And in fact, I'm trying to get this to be compared to all Alone on the main series. I just need to run it by people first.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense why they chose whatever it's called. Time
Our life.
Okay, thank you. That was what I was gonna say. It makes sense why they chose that, but also like as good as that to be the title track. But just like it's it's a different direction. Yeah.
Jacob.
Okay.
You guys commented on most of what I wanted to say, but I guess I'll go with the things that weren't discussed as much. Another comment from me on the production in regards to how the vocals were placed. I really appreciate the amount of like space they placed between the vocals and the piano and guitar-led instrumentals.
Yeah.
I like when I wish they did it more often, and a lot of songs wouldn't, because I enjoy there to be a lot of space between the instruments, so I can like sort of listen to different sections at a time when I have my pleasing, I guess. I also like the vocal layering that they use. I think that also does a good job to fill the space and make it sound very big and full sounding. And then also before the last chorus, I like how they went like full on gentle just to put more emphasis onto the last chorus. I guess it made it sound more hard hitting. And yeah, so overall that lent nicely to the amount of import the last chorus gave. So yeah, this was definitely one of the top songs in the album for me, though.
Glad we're all in agreement.
Yep. And finally, we have the best part, just best part. And honestly, this is probably what.
Uma's dying
Sorry.
already, and she hasn't even said anything.
Well, I was trying to sing the melody, but I guess it
came
across as that.
It came across as that. Sorry, we can't see you. I'm sorry. Climb moves, don't cancel me, please.
This is probably my favorite song on the album. I thought it was interesting because the opening beat is way more intense than the instrumentals that come in. And like it starts out kind of with like a bit of an acoustic ballad style with that crazy beat, but then it picks up more and more as the beat comes in. And for our regular listeners, you guys know like I love songs that slowly build layers into their instrumentals. Like they'll just start out simple and slowly add instruments or just different layers of instrumentals. And I think the song does it really well. I think it builds in some really great ways. So I thought it was a great song to end the album on.
Yeah, okay. So I think because this followed up cover, my first listen, I was pretty critical and when technically listening to it. But then I re-listened to it many times since then, and every single time I listen to it, I like it more and more and more.
Yep.
But it's also if I listen to it without trying to analyze it, because this one it's like we mentioned before, this album is to make you feel good, right?
Yep.
And this is just one of those release everything, like release all your stress, just let the weight lift off of your shoulders type song. So I like really freaking dig this song right now. And I'll just keep digging it more and more the more I listen to it. So the best part is I think it's the stacked vocals. It shows up in both the pre-chorus and then after the instrumental drop in for the chorus. So it's like best part, like, and it's like stacks of, it is so beautiful. But I think also, yes, okay, you've got the key. I don't. How the very first time Younghae sings can you sing that again?
Best part.
Okay. So when Younghae sings best part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so he changes notes on the very last beat of the second bar of holding that one note out. But then when Wonpil comes in, or whoever the second person singing is, depending on which course you're listening to, the rhythm has changed. So it's best part or like it comes in a beat earlier than before,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize until like I was like really trying to find something to say, which is really cool because like they definitely could have just like copy pasted that melody over, but no, instead they decided to change it up and make it shorter. And then when I read the lyrics, I would have never guessed that these lyrics would have gone with this vibe of the song. But now that I know that, every night when I close my eyes and become more and more afraid that I will not have a tomorrow, like, the instrumental is such a release. I guess, like, in a way, the instrumental is a reply to these anxieties that the lyrics are mentioning. Like, there is not a single moment that is meaningless to me. Not knowing when the end is, this moment is the best part. So, like, there's like almost like a little story being told versus the verses of the song versus the chorus.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I really like this song.
Like you said, it's the best part. Yeah, in terms of placement, yeah, this was the best place to put this at. Just great energy to end the album off with. You did mention the sort of like how they stack the vocals. I personally, I want to bring attention to just how I guess the sort of like drop or the sort of instrumentals come in during the chorus. It's almost like the guitar and the sort of piano melody, they're almost doing like the same type of like riff structure, and it's incredible. Just like they're following like the very similar like noisy, energetic type of feel. Again, trying to draw comparisons from like Western music or just some other influences. I definitely feel, and you were mentioning it, just like how like this song feels like a release in terms of just like, I don't know, stress or like anxiety or whatever this whatever the I guess like lyrics entail, but it definitely feels like something that Coldplay would do. Very similar type of just, loud, noisy, energetic vibe during the chorus. Yeah. So basically,
the instrumental break during the chorus reminded me of some artist. I was like, I can't remember who.
Yeah, just like the second I heard this, I was like, this is a Coldplay song. Like, it's definitely just like in the sort of like area of this like Coldplay, or you can get a lot of like U2, Where the Streets Have No Name out of it, especially with the way the guitar is going. I mean, obviously, I'm sure Jay and Sungjin being very well versed in music history. The 8 is one of the most influential guitarists of all time. Just the way he just his strumming patterns, or just like the way that he uses delays, has just basically been influential in all music. Like even like contemporary Christian music like follows like this type of like, I guess, I don't know, chord structure, or just like how they build up their songs, like Hillsong United, stuff like this. So I definitely feel a lot of the influence in this, and I definitely resonate with the sound that they're going for here a lot. And it's something I don't really think I've heard from DAY6 before. I mean, again, that's the beauty of I guess being an idol band, where I guess it's so funny because like in traditional like Western like music or bands, when they change from the sound, it's like, oh my god, don't do it. Like everyone's just like very afraid of their bands changing from whatever sound they just sort of become accustomed to, or whatever feels normal to them. Whereas like, with K-pop, you're always changing sounds. So that's cool for them to see, or to see them experiment in like rock music. And this whole type of band focused thing is, there's so many avenues you can take it down, and so it's cool to see them just sort of go down these different avenues and explore different aspects of rock music. And I feel like, yeah, I'd love to see something that they follow up on in the same vein as Best Part, because they executed it just as well as they did with Cover and everything in terms of vocals and how well that tied into instrumentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't have a ton to say to build off what you guys said, but so I thought first, I'll get one thing out of the way, was I thought the drums and claps working off each other and the percussion was kind of cool. And now my main thing, hear me out. So I think like the synth beats that they kind of used throughout in the instrumental, I think it would have sounded cool if they replaced that with a banjo.
What?
So I think I don't know. Like when I heard it originally, I was like, "Is this a banjo or something?" I was like, "No, this is not this is like a synth or something." And I was like,
I thought you
and
hate
then it
country
gave me
music.
No, I don't hate country music. I hate how gimmicky it is in the modern country.
Country music.
Yeah, like it's just a huge gimmick. But yeah, no, like if they made it a banjo, I think that would be so cool, giving it kind of like a more like unconventionally twangy sound that we normally don't really hear from Day6, and it would have been epic.
You heard it here first, folks. Day6, use a banjo in your next single.
Use a banjo.
Yeah, someone tweet Jay and tell him to use a banjo.
Yeah, but I can hear it like ba-dang, 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 da-dang,
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
I can hear it.
Yeah. Banjo.
Yes.
There we go.
Kazooie.
What a great way to end this review. Selling Day6.
More banjo.
Use more
More
banjo.
banjo.
That's forget cowbell. Use more banjo.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we'll get into our ratings now. For me, I gave it a 6 out of 7 for music. I liked pretty much all the songs for the most part. There were a couple that weren't too didn't stand out a ton, but they weren't bad. So I didn't really mark them down too much. And then I give them 2 out of 3 for concept. Music video, like you said, I was a typical band music video, but like it still had some cool stuff going for it. So overall, an 8 out of 10. Pretty good album. Definitely, it's not one of their best. I think I gave Sunrise like a 10 or whatever. I've probably given some of their albums a 10.
Sunrise, in my opinion.
So it's definitely not their best, but it's not a bad album.
Did we explain our new rating metrics to you, by the way?
Or do you remember
So
our
you guys
rating
don't
metrics?
have a bias point?
No,
We got rid of the bias point.
because
It's
just
just
the
7
free
for
space.
music, 3 for concept.
Yeah, so just
Okay.
visuals, biases, like how much you like the outfits or the video, that sort of thing. So yeah, out of 7 for music.
Okay, yeah, so for me, it's 7 for music because even if I didn't like it first listen, I know that I'm gonna like it as time progresses on.
You're just ensuring against
Especially
yourself.
if I see them live. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, if just basing my thoughts on that album like the very first time, and like if I have no bias towards this group, maybe a 6 out of 7. But because I know that I will like everything because I freaking adore Day6, it's at 7 out of 7. And then for music video, yeah, I guess because I don't find myself wanting to return to it, unlike Dance Dance, 2 out of 3. So overall, 9 out of 10.
Oh snap!
Yeah, because I mean, like, yeah, the video, like, I didn't feel like, yeah, it's like, it's happy, playing, kind of cool aesthetics. But there are definitely past music videos have been much more intriguing and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it didn't do anything too crazy. So on my end, I out of a total for the 7, I gave like a 5.5 for music. 2.5 of those points are attributed to the single. I would have given it a bit more had I not have, I guess, my sort of nitpicks about it, but I feel like I liked the rest of the album more than actual Time of Our Life, in all honesty, and despite me not always resonating with their singles, one thing I do like about Day6 is they very rarely have top heavy albums, in that like it's very rarely that you get like a good single and then just like you don't like any of the album tracks. Usually, yeah, the album tracks are always solid in their own right. And 2 out of 3 for concept. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I do like the use of color. I do like all the sort of sets they use, but yeah, it's nothing on par with. Because I love the music video for Days Gone By a lot. So I feel it didn't have any of like, I guess, the sort of the energy that had. But I mean, it still did good. So 7 out of 5, 7.5 for me total. I mean, it might sound low just to people that may not listen to me as much, but 7.5 is a pretty good score for me. I mean, I rarely give anything like with this new scoring metric. I've only given 3 or 4 albums a 9, and I haven't given any album a 10, and I've probably given like maybe 2 albums a 9.5. So yeah, 7.5 is a pretty good score for, at least on my metrics.
All right. So for me, I gave a 6 out of 7 for music. Again, overall, I think every song was really good, good or great. And so while it isn't their best album by any means, I think it was definitely super solid and really strong. And then for concept, I gave a 2.5 out of 3. Like, again, while the MV wasn't as good as, like, let's say like Days Gone By, I still think it was pretty cool for being so, like, I don't want to say low budget, but it wasn't like oozing with
It was a box MV.
like yeah exactly. But I gave a 2.5 out of 3 just because I really loved the aesthetic they went for with the teaser photos. They were using like this kind of like paint drip with all these mixed different colors and stuff that I thought was really cool. The distortion and like the gravity font. Also, even the album art, I think it looks really cool and kind of emphasizes the whole gravity concept. So yeah, 2.5 out of 3 for concept. So overall, I gave it an 8.5.
Okay,
So
so
an 8.25.
well,
overall.
we have another score with Cooper. He gave us 6.5.
Oh, we have Cooper's.
Yeah.
Okay, so he pulls it down.
Yeah, just to sum up, like our fourth member's thoughts. He just thought that, or he just wants them to do something a bit more interesting. I guess. Yeah, like I feel like for Cooper, like Time of Our Life sort of like set the tone for the rest of the album, in that he'd like them to do something a bit more interesting. A lot of it's getting a bit samey, so 6.5. But he's all over the place. Sometimes he gives stuff like a 3. Sometimes he gives things like a 10. So you never know with Cooper. So
7.9, so an 8.
Yeah, still gets an 8. I mean, yeah, right around where I'd put it. I mean, solid album. You know, definitely has its ups and downs, but I mean, DAY6 is probably like the spitting image of consistency in terms of just albums. Like, there's nothing I don't think any of us have overtly hated from DAY6. It's just, I think, yeah, they do have really high standards in terms of just the quality that they put out album after album. So,
Right.
So yeah, everyone, what were your thoughts on DAY6, The Book of Us, Gravity? Did you like Time of Our Life? Did you like the high note in How to Love? Do you want to see another song be the single, or I don't know? Do you want them to see? Do you want to see them do something a bit different in terms of just style, or are they getting a bit samey? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Needs more banjo.
No, it does not need more banjo.
Comment 69 if you think it needs more banjo.
No, we reserved that for if you want to see Umu sing.
Okay.
All right, comment 96 if you need more banjo.
Go, baby.
Go, baby.
No. All right.
Okay. Moving on to topic 2, which is
Got my
Umu's topic.
Go for it.
Yes. Okay, so the reason why I have chosen for us to discuss about what is a stan is because I actually recently there's a Twitter account, or so on. Is that
So on.
So on is a fan of SNS? So on. Okay.
I'm a
So
so
on.
I'm wearing my
talked
SNS
about-
t-shirt today.
Hey! Talked a little bit about how they are surprised when people call themselves like a stan of more than 5 groups, and like
So
standing is like super hardcore, right? And
Yeah.
how would you have time or money to do that? So then
Money.
I asked them, what's your definition of standing a K-pop group? And then we just got this whole thread going, and everyone had different ideas of what a stan is. And like, of course, like I've always wanted to know what people think a stan is ever since like I've gotten kicked out of several other fandoms supposedly because I'm not hard
Kicked out.
Spill that tea,
So-
spill that goddamn tea. DK
Well,
DK can
you
do
all
it.
have
So can we.
stan. Oh my goodness. I'm not a tea spiller. I don't like the scares the shit out of me. But yeah, so I was just wondering if this was going to be a live stream, I'd like to talk with the people, everyone, all the fans, because everyone does have different definitions of being a stan. And so
yeah.
I wanted all of
Yeah.
us to go one by one and say what you guys think a stan is, like what you have to know about a group, like what are your commitments, like what is it?
Ding.
Well,
Nate,
do you want to start?
Let's do
Or
Nathan,
you want me to
Jacob,
start?
Andrew, and then me.
Okay.
Do it.
Yeah, so for me, I would say you would need to. So I think you can definitely be a stan of more than 5 groups. I don't. To me, it's not about like dedicating your entire life to one group. It's just knowing more than the average person would know, if that makes sense. So like, I would say if you obviously you have to enjoy their music, but even if you don't, like, people that enjoy a group's, like all of a group's music, I wouldn't necessarily stay in that group. But like, if you know the members, if you watch variety show like appearances or reality shows, If you buy merch other than albums, I would say like that would be what, in my opinion, is the definition. Like just going above and beyond listening to the music and maybe even buying albums. Like I'd say even if you bought albums for a group, you don't necessarily stan them. But
if
if
you own
you're
all their
buying
albums?
light sticks, if you own all their albums, you're buying light sticks. If you're going to concerts specifically to see them, if you buy t-shirts, unofficial t-shirts, then yeah, I would say you stan those groups. But I honestly, I think you said it's different for every person, and I think that's honestly okay. Like I think if you consider yourself a stan of a group, then that's okay. Like you can be a stan of that group. Like
Yep.
I think everyone has their own definitions, and they don't need to necessarily go above and beyond to consider themselves a stan of a group. Like just because I go crazy and spend $200 on an IOI light stick that's really rare and hard to find doesn't mean other people have to do that to be an IOI stan.
Yeah.
Right. And then also, do
So-
you think the definition of a fan is interchangeable with stan, or do you think stan is like number one and then fan is like you aren't quite a stan yet? Like you like their stuff, but like
I would
not
consider
quite?
that, yeah. Like, yeah, I would consider just someone who's a fan would just be someone, yeah, enjoys their music, maybe buys a couple albums, listens to their music, but doesn't like go out of their way to like buy merch and stuff like that.
Also,
But, I
can you
mean-
switch between being a fan and a stan?
Oh yeah,
All the
definitely.
time.
Or once
I
you're
think people.
a stan,
I think
okay.
people change their like favorite groups, their biases all the time. So I don't think like. Yeah, and plus like it depends on if the group's even active or stuff. Like, I mean, like if once a group disbands, you could still stan them. Like I still stan IOI, but like it's a little different than standing
they
a
dead.
current group because they're not putting out music. They're not showing up on variety shows, like that type of stuff. Like, I mean, IOI is a little different because they were a project group and they split off into a bunch of different groups. And now I follow all those groups. But like for like Kara, they were my number
dead.
2 favorite group of all time. And yeah, they're all just doing like acting and theater and stuff now that none of them actually put out music or anything K-pop related. So like, I don't know. I would say I'm a Kara stan, but like that doesn't really mean anything anymore.
Jacob, your turn.
All right, so for me, it's I think for me it's on a more of a case by case basis. Like, how do you feel towards a certain group? Not really comparing yourself to other people. So, I guess it really depends on. All right, so first, your question about like, would you consider a fan different from a stan? I'd say more along the lines of stan is like a subset of the larger group of fans.
It's a super fan,
Like to be a fan, you're just, you like their music, like just period, basically. Or you like them or whatever the hell you're a fan for, right? Whereas I think stan is kind of like for me, I'd consider myself a stan if I would prioritize, if I know all the members, I watched like their reality stuff. I try to buy their albums. I, actively seek out content from this particular group. Then I'd say that's enough for me personally to stan a group. But another thing that I do find interesting is like kind of like the origin of the word stan, which actually comes from is basically the Eminem song Stan.
I have that on the screen right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like if you've never heard the song, it's basically like a story about a guy who's like a super fan of Eminem or Slim Shady, and he basically like writes letters to him and gets really like unreasonably pissed off that Eminem doesn't reply to him immediately, and he basically goes insane. He kills his basically he gets drunk, he gets in a car and drives his pregnant girlfriend off a bridge. in the end.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
my
not a
God.
good it's not a good
Terrible.
thing to base a word
Yeah,
off of,
but here's
but
the
it
thing.
is
Well, here's the
transcended
thing.
beyond that.
Here's the thing, and like
Most people don't even know what that means.
before in hip hop culture, being a stan is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a crazy fan, you're bad. You're
You're a
like, it's like,
yeah, like they'd
Yeah,
say
it
you're like
basically
a,
meant, like,
you're a sausang.
you're a
sausang-
Kanye you're a
sausang
Kanye
fan.
stan
Yeah.
or whatever. Like they'd say that you just
Yeah.
I don't know, that sort of
It was
thing.
basically It was basically the hip hop world's equivalent to like sausang fan back in the day. And
Wow.
then
Yeah.
I guess more recently, it became just like, oh, you're a big fan of this person. Basically, it became very lightened.
Okay.
So, yeah, I guess all in all for me, I'd say it depends on what your own definition of stan is, and
Yep.
if you feel that you're a stan, then you're a stan.
Mhm.
Yep.
So I guess for me, I guess like my basic definition for what a stan would be, it's whatever I'm not. It's what because I don't know. Like I guess for me, it's just standing just always seems to involve a lot of work, and I'm just like, I don't know. I guess,
Well, so like if you don't
Stan
know,
Sochi.
listen
Stan
to
to-
us. Like Andrew doesn't really watch any variety or reality
No.
shows. He doesn't really watch any like bonus content or any of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. Okay.
like my sort of connection with K-pop is mostly built on just strictly music. Like
Music.
there's a lot of groups I'm into specifically for music. I don't know any of the members' names. Like I love Very Very. I saw them at KCON like a couple weeks ago. I don't know a single person's name in Very Very. I just know I love their music. So it's hard for me to say that, you know, I'm a stan of a particular group just because, you know, it's hard
Right.
for me to like find the time to invest myself in researching, okay, this is this person, like this is their favorite food, this is their blood type, you know, this is like their characteristics, this is what they're known as for the group. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I could say I could probably only say I am a stan of like a handful of groups, maybe like Twice or I don't know, Red Velvet or
Wow, didn't even mention SNSD.
I mean, obviously, I'm always going to be a Soan.
Wow.
Like, always. But like, I was mentioning this before when we did our produce podcast about like seeing IZ*ONE live, and I feel like I said it felt weird for me to just sort of have this like emotional attachment to seeing an artist live, just because at this point I'm a jaded as hell K-pop fan that spends way too much money on concerts, so nothing really surprises me anymore. But personally, I was blown away by seeing IZ*ONE live, and again, going through the whole process of watching Produce 48 and seeing them go through their whole shtick and like their whole like growing process. I feel it's such a deeper attachment to them, much in the same way that Nate has
Yeah.
for IOI. So yeah, I feel like that's definitely like standing a group is kind of the exception to the rule in terms of what I enjoy with K-pop or just what I enjoy in just in music in general. Because yeah, I mean, like I guess for an example of a group that I wish I thought I stan, but I guess I don't anymore, or by definition of like, or at least how I define the term stan of just involving a lot of work. But because we review a lot of, or we look at all of the music that comes out every month, and like basically we jumped on the Luna bandwagon once like freaking Yojin did Kiss Later. So like from that point on, like I knew what Luna was, and like I was following them as much as I could, and then it just slowly but suddenly like got away from me to the point I'm just like, I don't really keep up with like Luna lore and fandom and everything, just because I feel like it's a lot of work. Like again, like the primary connection being like music. Again, very like even if like I think like a member's cute or it's like my bias or whatever, it's just like I very rarely just try to like delve into, you know, that background information. But I mean it does sort of elevate the groups that I do sort of want to invest that time in. Like I don't know, just with IZ*ONE, I kind of know like the different types of members, or with obviously SNSD, I know them with enough familiarity. So yeah, I guess just for me, it's just too much work to stand like a billion groups. And again, it's being a content creator for K-pop, it's hard to just all of us, it's hard for us to be in a position where we can just devote all of our energy to just one group, because there's just so much going on at this point. There's just a plethora of other things that sort of deserve our attention that it feels like it's almost detrimental in a way to just like focus all that energy on one group when there's so much more. Like discovery is a big thing for me too, so I'm always just finding new groups, and I can't just be like I stand 150 groups that I just discovered and nobody knows. I mean, I want to be that hipster guy that's like I found Luna before you guys did, but Yeah, I don't
Or
know.
me,
Yeah,
where I'm kickstarting or make starring like hashtag and favorite.
yeah.
All the boom, of
You
course.
get your names
But
in like the music
I
videos.
have
And,
signed albums for new girl groups.
yeah, just like girl groups that nobody heard of. Nate's probably a producer of them or something. So yeah, that's
So,
my definition of stan.
question.
But
Does it have to be music related for you to be a stan?
I mean, not
No, I don't think
necessarily.
so. Well,
I mean, like it's
Because
very,
I see people online all the time shitting on Marvel stands because they're on, like,
I was
particularly
literally gonna say, I was
Tumblr
like,
Marvel
probably
stands.
Marvel stand.
No. There's a fandom
Like-
surrounding.
yeah.
Okay, so then am I a Pokemon stan then?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're a Pokemon
100%
fan.
you're a
Pokemon
You're the one that's most angry about like no carryover in Gen 8 or whatever gen we're on now. So
Stupid, as I sip out of my Pikachu mug.
as you sip on your Pikachu cup,
Where's your
and-
Pikachu luggage?
Yeah, he got when
My
we went to
Pikachu
Japan.
coaster is right here.
We went to Japan, and Jacob needed like a carry-on luggage to like bring all the stuff back. So we went to the Pokemon Center, Pokemon store, and he
Pikachu
bought
luggage
like
is right here in frame.
yeah, he bought a Pikachu.
No,
he bought a
the
luggage
mic's
with
in the way.
Pikachu's face on it.
No, it's right underneath. It's right.
We can't see
No,
it.
you
We
just
can't
really
see it.
can't
but-
see it very
yeah,
well.
I mean, we could show an image of it later, but yeah, just
Yeah.
you're the definition of a Pokemon stan. You know, like EVs and all that. your first famous YouTube video had like 30,000 views. It was like an EV training.
55,000.
55,000. Sorry, I'm sorry. I sold you short. I sold you a bit short.
Because I used my Action Ray Play DS to glitch the game to find the bad egg in Pokemon Heart Gold.
Yeah, and he
When
got
you were
YouTube
like
famous, so-
8 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go look up that video. So yeah, like stan is definitely a term that's sort of ubiquitous, I feel at this point, just in terms of like fandom. Like you definitely have stans for everything. Like you have, I don't know, anime stans, or just like, I mean, it's still used in hip hop, or it's found its way into like popular like Western American music too, because you hear like Beyonce stans, like Ariana Grande stans, like Nicki Minaj stans.
Some of my Pokemon friends are Poppy stans.
Poppy stans.
Yeah, do you know
Cooper's
Poppy?
definitely a
That's
Lady
crazy.
Gaga
Yeah.
stan. So, Umu, what's your definition of stan?
Okay, so when you talked about, you said, Andrew, you said when you go to concerts, you've seen a lot. You see, like, you don't always have that connection, but then when you saw is one, you felt that connection. And
Yep.
so to summarize, like, all whatever, like, the requirements for myself that I set, is that you have to feel that deeper attachment
Yeah.
to the people. I think that's what causes standing. But like the specific things that I wrote down is that you need to know the names of the groups. You need to know the kind of like the age range of each member and like the group role. So like if they're the vocal or the visual. Probably like as in how much music you have to like for them is probably like maybe at least one album and most of their title tracks. You watch their variety shows and interviews, and that's why you a deeper connection with them, is because you know their personalities well. And then you stream their music videos. I guess like maybe not every single thing on this list creates a stand, because sometimes I stream
really
my
symptom.
favorite groups' music videos and sometimes I don't. Like if
Yeah,
they're
I
like
very
killing
rarely
it,
do.
if they're like strike killing it, I'm like, I would rather sleep, you know? But if like they're way behind and they haven't got a first win yet, stream, right? And then also it's interesting when the voting comes around, because groups like Dreamcatcher, that if they pop, or like Mamamoo, if they pop up in a category or what, and then other categories, I'm like, I'm just gonna vote for whatever group I think did it best, even if I don't stand them.
Yeah.
Like I might like a group in that category, but I think there might just, I don't know, like there's different levels of standing.
Yeah, there's definitely different
Because
levels.
like there's like also it depends on how much I like their recent music. Feel more obsessed, like right now I think I currently stand 17 because I like all their title tracks. I really
17's dope.
their most
man.
recent album. I've like been marathoning all the variety shows and interviews, and I've been just like watching their music videos and their dance practices on repeat. But like for a group like VIXT, who hasn't had comeback in a while, and also I've kind of grown tired of their music because like I listened to it thousands and thousands of times.
Yeah.
even though they are continuing to post videos, I don't go out of my way to watch them. So I wonder, like, once you're a stan, do you stay a stan, or do you just like go through all these layers of like super hardcore versus just like kind of relaxed and like I don't know. Like
It's definitely
also,
phases.
all these
It feels like
quote-unquote
phases.
requirements I set for myself are still up in the air. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been
All these
consuming.
requirements, of course, if you didn't have money, because not everyone has.
yeah, because I mean,
Yeah.
And then
there are
like
some
if you
people.
had money, you would buy albums.
Yeah, no, not just that. I mean, there's some people that are like hardcore stans that'll like buy them, I don't know, or like buy like 100 copies of the album, or like give them like literally every gift in the world because I don't know.
Chinese
Like
Or
that-
stands.
follow them around every
follow them
airport
around at
and
the
take
airport.
pictures of them as they land to every city.
Certain
Yeah.
Twice fan.
Yeah, twice, like once is do that, but yeah, I don't know.
No, yeah,
I just think in general
Go
it's
ahead,
hard to
Andrew.
keep that emotional attachment just like at 100%. Because I mean, like maybe this might be a bit controversial, but I feel like there's gonna be a point where like people who might be like big BTS stands, like for example, they're gonna fall off eventually, or like it's not gonna be at its peak. Like it's just a natural. I feel it's a natural course of evolution. Taste change, you grow older, or you might not resonate with the music much, or they might not be making as much music. I feel like it's always just like I feel like so kind of like a mountain in a way. It's just like that first honeymoon discovery phase, and then your peak stan dumb, and then you just sort of like go it either levels off or just like falls off completely. Yeah, I'd say that's probably
Is
the
it a
biggest
mountain
trajectory.
or is it like multiple mountains?
It's probably
Yeah, I
like a
think it
mountain.
can go up and down.
Yeah.
but yeah,
Because go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like, yeah, I like Jacob said, and kind of what I was getting at is like, I think it's really up to each person individually. Like, I think if you consider yourself a stan, you're a stan, and yeah, I 100% think there's different levels. Like, you're not gonna have 100% energy for a group 100% of the time. Like, they're
Exhausting.
and even like you said, like sometimes the group's just not putting out stuff. You're not. If a group's not putting out music and they're not showing up on variety shows or reality shows or anything, like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna want to focus your energy on another group that's actually active.
There's also
if you're
the
not
fact
a
that
hardcore solo stan.
yeah, there's also the fact that a lot of younger fans can't really afford to like buy a ton of merchandise and stuff like that.
They don't have
either.
expendable income. Yeah.
So like, well, I mean, like when I was like most into SNSD, I think I had like 5 albums or something.
I have one. I still only have one.
Oh, I own all of their
I had
albums
them
now.
all.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Korea.
I missed that train. Yeah, it definitely is a lot of work, but I don't know. Just in general, I very not even just groups, just standing like specific members or whatever. It's very hard for me to just get that emotionally invested or attached to like idols, because I mean, there's a lot of idols I that's like my bias or whatever.
Unless they're Taeyeon.
Yeah, and honestly, like legitimately speaking, like Taeyeon's probably the only one that I would put anywhere near that like
How dare you, Jacob?
like level of reverence.
What?
Oh yeah, how do
No,
you?
look
He's
at
right
my
behind me.
Yeah,
I was talking
Tiffany.
about Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, for Andrew.
For
okay.
me, Taeyeon would probably be the only one that's anywhere up there in my terms of echelon of like someone that could definitely feel an emotional attachment to, just because I feel, just personality wise, I relate in a way. Like, she doesn't leave her house and she plays Roller Coaster Tycoon all the time. And yeah, she definitely is a tad bit introverted, or just like likes to just chill and enjoy life and that sort of thing. So I definitely resonate on that level. Also, just besides the fact that I love almost every single song that she puts out, like solo wise. So that's a rare example of me having some type of, emotional investment in a specific idol or whatever. So that's a completely different Pandora's box that we can open up another time. Just like solo stands, or just like specific like standing like specific members of different groups. But
Right, yeah. So I think what people should let us know in the comments, do you guys think that you do need that emotional attachment? Like, what are your guys' definitions of stan? Because I'm really interested in seeing what everyone's definition is, as I am creation too.
So
Yes.
Stan truly Daebak, Stan react to the K.
And yes. I guess from there we
Okay,
can
next
move
topic?
on. Yes, next topic. All right, so next topic is non-Asian K-pop idols.
Yep.
Yes. So yeah, basically, Andrew, you want to lead it? So you brought
Okay,
this
so
up.
the fancy title for this topic is going to be UHSN, Lana, and non-Asian K-pop idols. So that's our clickbait of the day for now. So yeah, there's just been a sort of, I guess, just recently a string of, non-Korean, non-Asian people sort of making either debuts or just sort of finding their way into the Korean music industry. So yeah, just wanted to highlight just two examples of it, just sort of give our thoughts on, I guess, just sort of the trend or what we think of, non-Asians sort of getting, exposure or just getting fame in the K-pop space. Yeah, I guess that's just sort of a basic summary of what I wanted to go through. So, starting off with, I guess our first example would be UHSN, also known as Study Abroad Girl. I'll get to it.
I didn't even listen to this song.
I will literally. No, you need to listen to it. You need to listen to it right now. Stop what you're doing and go listen to it right now, because
I listened to it the other day.
We'll get into it. But so yeah, UHSN, also known as Study Abroad
Sorry
Girl.
for the clickety clack of the keyboard.
UHSN Study Abroad Girl. Sonyo, or I forget. I don't know how they pronounce it.
Sonyo. Yeah, Yuhak Haksang
is yeah.
Or
Yeah, so
Yuhak Sang means
it's like
foreign student, actually.
Foreign
Yeah.
student, yeah.
Yeah,
If
Study
it
Abroad
wanted to
Girl.
be well, it's technically not. It's technically just foreign student
Foreign student.
because exchange student would be Kyoto Haksang, which is what I was.
Oh, this
Is
is way
there-
too loud.
So like if someone asks, "Are you Yuhak Sang?" I had to say no, because I'm not staying in Korea forever.
Yeah, so using that Korean knowledge for your couple months living there. Anyway, so yeah, with
Yes.
Ukyak Sonyo, it is a Mnet reality show that invited 10 girls from countries all over the world to experience Korea and sort of dip their toes into what it would be like to become a K-pop idol and, find their way into the music industry. So I have a diagram on the screen, but you guys don't need to look at it, just sort of our audience knows. Just running down the different members. So from left to right, we have Lisu, who is from Estonia. We have Vlada, who is from Ukraine. We have Nada, who is from Egypt. We have Oline, who is from Norway. We have Mind, who is from Thailand, and she looks a bit like Lisa, so I think that'd probably work in her favor. We have DZ, who is from Russia. We have Livia, who's from Sweden. We have Luna, not the group, Luna, from Poland. We have Maria, who is from the good old United States. So she got her fame, or just sort of her recognition, for being on another Mnet show entitled "I Can See Your Voice." So what she did on that show is I guess she would reveal that she was like a singer that won singing contests at like K-Town events in New Jersey. So she's in my neck of the woods, so she's immediately that's a huge plus. And of all you have to sing on that show, or just they're trying to guess if you're a good singer, or what your background is on that show. It's usually a lot of foreigners, or people that might not be famous. So she was up on stage with a bunch of people with AOMG, and then they start playing "Don't," which is the song that Hwasa and Loco did from, I think it was Hyena on the keyboards. Umu, have you listened to that song?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it's incredible.
Yeah, because it was from a few months ago, right?
It was last year, so
late 2017.
late 2018.
That's what I meant. Oh my God.
We live in 2019.
What year is it?
What year is it? Yeah. So anyway, she starts singing that song in every perfect Korean and everything, and just everyone goes crazy. Loco himself is surprised when he does the rap or when he starts singing along as well. So yeah, she really got famous through that. So no surprise she ended up back on the show. And the last member is Chiba Eri, who is from Japan.
Yeah.
So Chiba Eri is a member of AKB48, the most famous J-pop group in Japan. Yeah, she was on Produce 48. She got famous because of her performance of Bubaya. She got famous because she was an F-rank trainee. Yeah, she's one of those people that you kind of root for, and I think she was friends with Hyewon and everyone else that got into IZ*ONE. So yeah, I'm definitely glad to see Eri back here. So just I give you like background on the idols, and like the foreign exchange student concept. So I guess what did you think of this concept just in general before we get to like the actual like song? So Nate, I guess we can start with you. Wait, did you listen to the song yet or no?
It literally just ended.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on just like UHSN as like the idea of like foreign exchange students?
I don't know. I mean it makes sense for a concept for a show. It's like K-pop's getting super big internationally, so like it's obvious. So like, hey, let's take foreigners and make a K-pop group out of them or whatever. I mean, so we've talked about this topic before with Alex from BP Urania and EXP Edition. We've had topics on both of them, I think. And I think for those two situations, I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah.
And I think for these two situations, it's less egregious to me. So the reason I didn't like Alex and BP Rania and EXP Edition is it felt like it was just a publicity stunt, and they didn't really they didn't follow the like process, I guess, if that makes sense. So like in K-pop, like everyone trains for years to be in these groups.
Yeah.
And Alex just got added with no training, barely knew Korean. It was very much her company was taking this dying group that wasn't doing very well, and they're like, let's put an African American girl into this group and just get a bunch of publicity and hope that the group succeeds now. And like, it's not Alex's fault. None of this is against Alex, and I said that when we talked about it before. It just felt so gimmicky, and it felt like they were using her.
Yeah.
They were to hope that they were using her. How that whole thing played out, it was very clear. They didn't really care about it or her at all. They were just throwing her in the group to try to make it popular. And then EXP Edition was just 4 random dudes that barely didn't know any Korean, that did not have any singing or dancing skills at all. That was just like, let's make a K-pop group and try to become famous doing this. And it's like, none of this has anything to do with K-pop. You're trying to sing in Korean, you can't speak Korean, and your music's garbage. So that was just a joke. Now these two situations I think are different. Jumping a little bit ahead, but like Lana actually trained for her debut for 2 years. She's fluent in Korean, and this as a concept for a show, obviously it's a publicity stunt. It's an Mnet thing. It's a show. They're trying to get people to watch it.
Yeah.
But I think it's for a good, it's a reasonable cause and a reasonable way to put foreigners into a K-pop group. Is to make it so that these people can actually experience what it's like. Obviously Mnet wants to make money. They want people to watch the show. So you could say they're using these girls in this group too, but it's not like Alex. I feel like it's
nowhere near that.
It's not nearly as malicious. So I think for these situations, I'm more okay with it. And I mean, I didn't watch the show, so I can't really comment on how the show went or anything. So, but do you want me to talk about the music too, or
sure? Just talk about the song.
The song was okay. I don't like the beginning part. The pop.
That's the best part of the song.
No, that was the worst part of the song, in my opinion. I think the song gets better throughout, but I don't like that part. But no, yeah, I thought it was fine. For a show concept, it's fine. It's just when you're either using it as a gimmick, a marketing gimmick, either using the foreigner as a gimmick, or being a foreigner, you're using yourself or that property as a gimmick to get famous, is when it causes a problem, in my opinion.
Yeah. So for me, I guess that's where I was going, is the problem with Alex being out to BP Rania and the EXP Edition is the fact, or even for cases like Holland, for examples, I feel like they're all banking on a gimmick. That's what I don't like, is that it's not like people gravitating to them because their music is good or because they're super talented is because it's just they're banking on a marketing strategy rather than
Talent.
trying to produce art, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
And so with UHSN, I think it's similar, but I think it's at least cool because it's a concept for a television show. It's not just it doesn't come off as just a publicity stunt, like you said.
Yeah, it's a project group. It's a project like show.
Exactly.
It's not like they're trying to become this like 10-year-old like K-pop senior group that's gonna like show up on music shows forever and come back every 3 months and stuff. Like, yeah.
So I don't think UHSN is gonna last very long. However,
no, they're done already.
They're already done.
No,
okay.
it was a one and done thing. They're already they're already all back in their home countries.
Okay.
So
I didn't know if it was supposed to be like a group for a while or something like that. I guess it was just like 2 months. Anyways, Lana, on the other hand, I think she has the most legitimate claim in my opinion because again, like she trained, she knows Korean, she's interested in succeeding the same way everybody else did. I don't think there's any problem with her. It's no different than a trainee from China or something.
Or even
as a solo artist,
and,
you know,
like Ailey or like an Asian American. Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah.
Like it's no different. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I just watched before this JFK, I think it's a podcast with Amber Liu, and she talked about how she was scouted and added to a group to be a tomboy from China.
Yeah.
To reach.
Yes.
But she's from
America. But she's American.
Yeah, she's American.
Well, she's Chinese.
She's Chinese.
But like,
yeah. She's Chinese. But,
yeah.
Yep.
And then there's a TXT member who, or T by T,
tomorrow by TXT. Nobody says tomorrow by together. That's too much work.
Okay. He's half Chinese, half Caucasian, and then there's also the half Koreans, half Caucasians, and there's people, there's the people in Thailand, China and Japan, and so I'm fine with whatever nationality you are into, like when becoming a K-pop star. I do prefer like Asian aesthetics, but I mean that's not going to keep me from liking or disliking the music. For Popsicle, I felt like extremely K-pop. It's just extremely,
that was very K-pop.
So, and also I don't speak Korean, but it didn't sound like it was bad. And they danced just as well as any other K-pop girl group. So I thought, I don't think nationality should get in the way of creating music that do actually do the research and put in the practice for. And that's Lana. Yeah, just know Korean and know the culture, and you can release in whatever language. Like, American pop, we have people from Europe coming over to America.
Yeah, exactly. It's so common here. Yeah, for people from outside of our own country to sort of try and find success in our domestic music industry. So.
Yeah, like it would be different if artist went over to Korea and produced a song that doesn't sound like K-pop nor is in Korean, and then like maybe tried to make the music video look like K-pop. Maybe that would be something that I wouldn't be sure whether I want to support, because I feel like music is the number one thing. You should at least be Korean and fit in the style.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you liked Popsicle a lot? You can go off about the song.
First, I didn't write any notes down, so I think that's in my head right now.
Yeah, go
But
for it.
after talking, because we interviewed David Amber at KCON, and he says that he had a lot of fun making that song, and like he didn't treat it any different than any other K-pop song he's written. Like,
because I mean, they don't like a lot of the times when they're writing, they don't necessarily know who's gonna get their songs. I mean, so it's they just write to write, not necessarily. I mean, in this case, it's definitely tailored, or they knew. I think they knew going in that it was for this show specifically. But yeah, it definitely seems like they're just going for whatever they would do with Korean K-pop idols, or just typical K-pop idols.
Yeah, exactly. So like I listened to the audio and but then I watched the music video and I was like, okay. And I don't know whether it was bright, flashy visuals that made me like the song more. But I put it again on my watch later playlist, so I'll be checking it out again in the future.
So I just watched Lana's video. Like I only heard about her.
We can get to it later,
song,
though.
but...
Did you have any thoughts on like just Popsicle as a song?
Me?
Yeah. We can get to. We'll cover UHSN before we get to Lana.
I thought it was good enough. Like if a K-pop group put that out, I wouldn't be hating on it or anything. So yeah, like it was a good song. It wasn't like egregiously bad or anything. Like EXP Edition, like I hated that because they couldn't even pronounce Korean very well. Like, and it just sounded like a generic American pop song that I'd hear on the radio like 3 years before that, you know? So, but this, I think it was pretty good.
Okay, so on my end, this might be one of my favorite songs of the year. Just going out and saying that right now.
Oh,
that's a ridiculous claim.
No, because hear me out. Because like, again, like you guys have said, if like some like traditional like Korean K-pop group put out this song, it'd blow the fuck up. It'd be everywhere. You'd hear it. I feel like it'd do well on the charts and everything. And I mean, it makes sense being the fact that like David Amber and Ryan Jun were the two like masterminds behind it. Some of my favorite producers. So I feel like it definitely resonated with me more than I thought it would going into it's just like a project like foreigner group sort of thing. And there wasn't any of that, I guess. Going into it, you think there'd be like a cringe element to it. There isn't any cringe at all. Yeah, they're great. Like you definitely can tell that they're foreigners in terms of their like pronunciation, but they do it well enough. They sing well. Like this isn't they just got random like girls from like all around the world and like we're gonna turn you into idols, but you can't like do any of like the actual like hard work or whatever. Like a lot of them were K-pop fans and. They know the history and they know what it takes to sort of become an idol. And I feel like, just giving them a taste of that is, I feel, very fascinating television, or just seeing the process of that. So, yeah, and in all honesty, the amount of, like, you definitely can't divorce it from, like, the music video or the visuals, but a lot of them just have so much more energy than you'd see than even, like there are Nugu groups that are fully Korean that don't have as much energy or as much stage presence as these girls do. So I feel like, I feel like you can't really like give them any like trouble for not being Koreans because I feel like they did try their best in this and I feel like they did incredible with it. So yeah, I'm gonna die on this hill. This is an amazing song. Everyone needs to go listen to this. I stand this group even though it's completely dead, and I just explained for like half an hour about why I don't stand groups, but
I don't agree with you that this song would have blown up. I think this song would have only blown up if Twice performed it.
Well, but no,
I don't think any B tier girl group does this song. No one cares about it.
But no, like that's what I'm saying though. Like if they're the regular collaborators with people like Twice, people like groups like G-Friend, whatever. If
but
one of those
any
groups
song Twice puts out, it's gonna blow up.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, hey, again, that's why like
Dance the Night Away blew up. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Hey, you leave that back at home. We love Dance the Night Away in this household.
No, we don't.
Anyway, no, it makes me want to go back and watch the show in all honesty because I feel it's super interesting. I know a bunch of the people, or I know some of the people there. And I think they did really.
Chiba Eri.
I know Eri. I know.
You want to watch it because of AKB?
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, it's funny because she's not famous at all in Japan, just because she's like she's like the B tier of the B tier of the B tier.
Yeah,
there's like so many people in AKB48. It's hard to get I don't think she's ever made a senbatsu for a single. So it's actually endearing to see that she's grown a fan base in Korea and like she has like people that know her and everything. So yeah, I just wish all the best for her in the end. And also I'd love to interview Maria. I don't know if she watches YouTube or podcasts, but if you're in my neck of the woods and you want to talk talk about how the show is like or what like being I guess a singer in Korea is like, definitely hit me up. Hit up Umu unless if you want to talk to someone more famous. I guess I don't know. You can do interview. I don't know. I don't have clout.
I'm open. You can be in the same room while I interview.
Sure. I'll just be there.
Sits next to you like.
Yeah. You can use your connections. Anyway, so yeah, I definitely love this song a lot. I will die on the hill for Popsicle being a top 10 song of the year for me. Anyway, moving on to the other one, Lana. You guys started to sort of delve into it a bit. I can give a bit of information on her background. So she is a 22-year-old idol debuting from Russia. She was born on an island that I can't pronounce because I don't know how to speak Russian. It's like Sakhalin or something like that. So it's this part of Russia that's like sort of remote on the eastern, because most of the population of Russia lives towards Europe, like to Western Russia. Eastern Russia is a lot more, barren because you have like Siberia there. But the island she was born on has a history of Korean migration, also had a like small history of Japanese occupancy, which kind of explains why she looks a bit Asian. It's like granted, she is Asian. She's from the Asian part of Russia. Like that's just one thing we should get out of the way, is that Russia, like culturally, you might think of them as all looking, the same, very like white European type of deal. But Russia has something like almost 150 different ethnicity groups that live inside, because Russia's massive.
She'd probably have more in common with people from like Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan than people from like Western
Moscow.
Russia.
Yeah, I believe she has Tatar blood in her, like just heritage or whatever. Her father has those genes. So yeah, the Kazakhstan, like Uzbekistan, like anyone like Turkic people, like that sort of thing. A lot of them look Asian, so that sort of explains things. So after high school, she moved to Korea to study the language. She appeared on Abnormal Summit, which is like this variety show about people, foreigners living in Korea and just sort of their experience, or like talking about their own home country. She studied at your school, Jacob. She studied at Sungkyunkwan University. She took pol sci.
Wait, when did she graduate?
I don't know. Like it must have been like a while ago or whatever. Or maybe she didn't like complete it. But yeah, she went to SKKU. She trained 2 years under HICC Entertainment. And yeah, she's debuting as the quote unquote first Russian K-pop idol.
Wait, it says she received the scholarship in the middle of the current semester. So
you went to school.
Still there.
So you went to school at the same time as Lana?
Yeah.
Did you see
technically I went to school with Lana, and I also went to school with that one girl from Playback.
Yes.
Oh my God, Jacob! You're connecting with all these idols.
Yeah, I totally met them.
Yeah, you totally. I mean, you probably saw her on campus. I'm sure. Like at one
maybe.
point.
I might have seen
giant campus that has 2 different campuses.
Yeah.
Well, she would have been on the Seoul campus. And
Not
who
the
knows?
Seoul
I probably could have seen her and thought she was an exchange student or something. So.
Yeah, but so I mean, I guess sort of the controversy like surrounding her, outside of just her being like Russian, is it a lot of people feel like the term has been thrown around is that people think she's a Koreaboo in terms of just like the way she styles herself, or just like the way like, people are thinking that she's trying to look Asian. So I guess what are your thoughts on that? So I guess Nate, you can start us off.
I don't know if I have thoughts on that because I don't really know what to think of that. But as for like her as an idol and stuff, like I said before, I think it's infinitely better than these other like situations we talked about, because she actually like put the work in. Like my biggest thing with like issue with these is like not putting the work in, because I know how hard all of these people go through to become idols, like how much work they put in, like how many years they have to train to become idols. And like it bothers me when people get a free pass, basically. So the fact that she actually put the work in, I think she trained for like 2 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And like she's been in Korea, she knows the language, she's learned the language, she's been on variety.
She goes to a Korean university.
She goes to a Korean university. Like she's put the work in, and so it's like it feels deserved, if that makes sense. Where other times it definitely doesn't. It feels like they're stealing. Like it sounds dumb because anyone can become an idol, or like not anyone, but like it's not like there are limited spots or whatever. But it feels like these people that get free passes are taking away from people that have put in a bunch of work that might not end up ever becoming idols or something like that. I mean, but no, yeah, for her, it definitely not the situation, not the case.
Yeah, that's the thing though. A lot of people still feel like she's taking away from like other people that could have had the spot, but I mean,
I think if she put the work in, she deserves it.
yeah,
Yep.
definitely. So, Jacob,
It's not. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I just hate these kind of issues because I feel like they're just so shallow and
yeah,
hate
it
driven.
literally skin deep
Like-
type of an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know, people say cultural appropriation or something, but
But she's
where does that
Asian.
where is that line? Well,
Where
also
do we
where's that
draw the
line
line?
drawn?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, am I appropriating Asian culture by doing this podcast? Am I a Korea boo because I went and lived in Korea for 4 months?
Yeah, you're totally Korea boo.
Like, I there's nowhere to draw the line, and that's where I stand in those issues. Is that if you can't like define it, then it doesn't exist.
So, Umu.
Are people angry at her because she's trying to look Asian or because she's trying to look Korean?
I think specifically, like
Like,
wait, what does even looking
makeup
what
and
does
stuff.
looking Korean like
Well,
even
Korean
mean? Like
Korean
specifically?
beauty is a very specific thing. I
Yeah,
think.
K-beauty, and then I also think Japanese beauty is very specific. Chinese beauty is very specific.
I mean,
but
the
like,
thing is
I
that-
also
It was put it
like,
this way,
all
Andrew.
my
It was to
Japanese
the
friends. Yeah, go ahead.
Put it this way, Andrew. When I was in Korea, I could literally pick out from a crowd.
Yeah, you can.
Like,
Yeah,
that girl is Japanese. Like, literally.
yeah, you
can tell
100%
by
can
looking
do
at
that when you're in Korea. Yep.
Yeah, like,
But then, yeah,
or like even Chinese
have-
people. Like, the Chinese people
Yeah.
will be all wearing like Gucci and freaking Off-White and stuff. And
Fuck boys.
like, I'm not kidding. I'm literally not
Yes,
kidding.
I know.
True.
I see a lot of them.
And like you can tell because they all have different ways that they express themselves that are kind of unique to their own countries, you know. So it's there is a way to look a certain
Yeah,
culture, I
I
guess.
So,
I'll put it that way.
We're following up on what you're saying.
yeah. So basically, I do have Japanese and Chinese friends who follow the Korean culture, but I don't ever see them being called Koreaboos. And I mean, maybe it's because, you know, Asian versus Caucasian, and just like the racism, you know, in our past that Caucasians have put on Asians that is causing this like, oh, you've been like just like towards, okay, I've never like really thought about this before, so I might be messing up.
Yeah,
I
no, don't.
know.
You can work
But,
it out,
like,
definitely. That's what a podcast for.
yeah, like I wonder if the main hatred is that, you know, Caucasians have in the past made fun of Asians, so now why are you suddenly trying
Yeah,
to look like us, and not
that's
only
definitely-
look like us, but become a part of our culture in
Yeah.
a way of becoming a pop star.
See,
But I mean-
with that,
But like, I
with-
mean, yeah, go ahead.
with that point, I think it's only Western people thinking about that, though.
Yeah, I don't think anyone
people
in
in
Korea cares.
Korea care at all about that. To be honest, like I didn't get that
Yeah,
sense
also-
at least when I was
Yeah,
there.
like when this started rising up, I was actually hanging out with PD and a few other Koreans, and they were talking about this, and I just kind of like sat there listening to their conversation, and they said that a lot of the Koreans weren't upset with this at all. It was only like the international fans.
Yeah. That's the funny part. It's always the international
know.
fans that are getting mad about
Offended on
these
behalf
things
of-
that when they're being offended on behalf of Koreans when Koreans don't care at all. Like it's so weird though. Like weird reverse, like
Sort of
I don't know.
dynamic about it.
like anger and it's just it doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, never mind maybe what I said about like racism and stuff, but
No,
I mean,
yeah.
overall, like my
it's-
thoughts are
That's
exactly
definitely
Valid point.
yeah, it's definitely
definitely a valid
valid.
point,
It
yeah,
should be
'cause I-
taken into account.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
want to. We don't want to dismiss that, but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that is
My
that.
overall
that
thoughts are just
oh, go ahead.
sorry.
You can
My
finish.
overall thoughts are exactly what Nathan. It's just like she put in the work, studied. I mean, I think she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, I think we're like, I guess the biggest problem is that a lot of people sort of tend to make sweeping generalizations just based on how she looks without looking into the fact that, like, I saw some really like dumb comments saying like, oh, she trained for 2 years and this is all she can show for. But I mean, like, there's even Korean trainees that they train for years and they don't have much to show for either. So I don't feel like it's something that's intrinsic to like what your like literal like background or heritage is. So Yeah, in a way, I just in general, I don't like making big sweeping generalizations about like people as a race or ethnicity. I feel like, especially in this case, it's a case by case basis where like you can't just discredit like her hard work. Like if you there's videos on YouTube of her like speaking Korean like to like other Koreans, or just like speaking Korean to like her fan base, and like swear to God, if you close your eyes, you don't even look, like if you didn't know anything about the situation, you think she's Korean. Like that's like the level of fluency she's operating at. So I mean, yeah, it's just this weird sort of thing where again it's very hard for people to look away from it. I mean, granted, K-pop very much is a skin deep. That's all they care about ultimately. So it and being a non, like not being the splitting image of what people consider to be an Asian, definitely it works both against her in that like definitely people might give her a hard time, but it does work for her that I maybe she is getting a lot more exposure than she would if she was just, you know, an Asian person. And I mean, I on my thoughts is at the end of the day, it's a business. I mean, they're if there's a market for it, I mean, they get like K-pop as an international sort of medium or an international sort of collective. I feel it's not just a byproduct anymore. They're specifically marketing to people like us, to people in, you know, South America, to people in Africa, to people in Europe, all other parts of Asia. Like they know that it's not just Koreans consuming this stuff now. So I feel it's almost in your best interest to maybe sort of introduce. And there's a lot of willing people that want to learn and, you know, go through this process of becoming an idol. So I feel like, I don't think, you know, their ethnicity or their background should ever be a detriment if they're willing to put in the work. And I feel like that should be anything that anyone for any sort of job or anything. I don't think just in general, like as long as you put in the work, it shouldn't matter what like what you look like specifically. So. I guess that sort of just wraps up the topic in general. I mean, I feel like we were pretty much in agreement just in general that they make good music. I mean, granted, I got to be honest with Lana. I didn't really like her song all too much just because I feel like she's kind of soft-spoken.
The problem with Lana's song, I don't think it's bad, is the mixing is really bad.
Oh, yeah, the mixing
like
is bad.
Her vocals are too loud, or the instrumentals are too quiet.
And then in the live performance, it was kind of the opposite, where you could barely hear her speak, and some people were sort of criticizing, she was speaking the English lines a lot louder than the Korean, but I mean, there's a lot of K-pop groups like that, like even Koreans. So I mean, you can't give her too much slack. I mean, I honestly, I think we all wish the best for her, just to because it's definitely not everyone has the balls to leave their home country and go to a completely different country to become a famous like celebrity figure singing in a language that wasn't your mother tongue. So I mean, it takes a specific kind of person to, you know, achieve that dream. So I feel like we should be applauding her for being willing to, you know, chase after something like that. It's something that I feel like other people should aspire towards. You know, again, like Maria in UHSN, it's her dream to become a singer in Korea. So yeah, I feel like we shouldn't, you know, really hamper people chasing their dreams in the long run. Umu, you can have the last word if you wanted to say something.
No, just basically what you guys said. Yeah, I actually didn't listen to headphones. So I was like, I listened quietly and I noticed.
Yep, and you cut out a bit.
What?
Oh, you cut out
a little bit.
Yeah, just go over what you said again.
Okay, so I noticed that, the vocal read the comments section, and then I got with. So
Move a
I
little
mean,
bit closer
I
to your
the
mic.
talent.
You keep cutting out a little bit.
Oh no! Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think you were just getting a little
So
too
should I
far
repeat?
from it.
Yeah, just repeat.
And
Just
it's
repeat.
like cutting out.
These are headphones.
Oh, it's your
They
headphones?
stay the
Oh,
same
I don't know.
length. Yeah. So just like, do I need to repeat everything that I already said?
I mean, we heard that you started listening.
Just summarize it.
Yes, so summarize it.
So summarizing it is just that I can't remember what the song sounds like, but I think that she has the talent, passion, and like my eyes will be out for what she releases next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she'd do better in a group, just because I feel like it sort of like maybe masks any sort of deficiencies in terms
Yeah,
of like which
I
he's not
think
familiar with. In
pretty much
vocal
anyone
talent.
will do better. Most people can do better in a group.
Yeah. I mean, it's a small company, so maybe they just
Hides
want
your
sort of
flaws.
deficiencies. But yeah, I think that we summed it up pretty well. So for those of you in the comments, definitely let us know what your thoughts are on this whole sort of non-Asian K-pop idol sort of thing. Do you like UHSN? Do you like Lana? Do you like any of their music? Would you consider listening to like permanent groups that, you know, may not have like many Koreans or just any Koreans in it, but they're singing in you know, Korean, and they like do all the work? So definitely I'd like to sort of have a good open conversation about it. No meanness or craziness in the comments, please. But yeah, I think it'd be a good conversation. And on that note, I think we should honestly cut it short because we're closing in on 2:21. So I could just I can just do
Oh my god.
I could just do split day 6 into 2 parts. I can split day 6 into 2 parts because it's like an hour on its own. But so we can still get 4 parts out of it. But I mean, yeah, go ahead and you can do the spiel. Sorry to cut the depression topic out, but we can do it another time.
Yeah.
You want to end it, Jacob?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
All right.
Jacob,
Well,
take us out.
So thanks for listening this week. Again, if you're a new listener, subscribe if you like our stuff. And if you don't know React to the K, definitely head over to Umu's channel. She has a lot of cool videos up there. Let's see. Join Discord, please. If you need a community to sort of you know, talk about K-pop with, everybody in our Discord is pretty much mostly multi-fandom, so we'll talk about pretty much anything and anything that comes out, new releases. We do song ratings, we do discography listens, we even talk about off-topic stuff like gaming, movies, all sorts of stuff. So yeah. So yeah, join Discord. It's awesome. Subscribe if you like us, like this video if you like it. Comment on our discussions. We love to hear feedback. We also love to hear like your opinions on certain topics, and we'll even usually reply to your comments. And yeah, thank you for listening and or watching.
Umu, is there anything that you wanted to sort of shout out or promote that you're doing upcoming?
Nothing new immediately, but yeah, for sure. Like right now, it's just the transition time. It's summertime. I'm finishing up season 3 of Classical Musicians React, and I'm preparing for season 4 of Classical Musicians React. So I look forward to another.
Is that the
solid
final
year.
season?
The final season of Classical Musicians React.
Not the
Question
final
mark?
season, but
It'll definitely
we'll
have to
definitely
take on a
have
new role.
after, because
new.
yeah, I'd say like 98% of the crew reactor are graduating, but a few
Damn.
are staying at school. And I think if I interview a lot of people and audition a lot of people, we could get a solid cast back up and running, because I am going
Nice.
to be applying for a 5th year to study Korean, actually, to study Asian
nice.
history.
Nice.
Awesome.
Because the end goal is a Fulbright in Korea. So I think that I will have a year of Classical Musicians React at Eastman.
Awesome.
So, but that there might need to be a hiatus also, because I want to do like a really freaking huge project, like bigger than my 2018 medley.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I would need a break from the main series in order to get it to the good, like the amazing quality that I want it to be at.
Cool.
So I guess just look forward to future cool possibilities. Yeah.
Nice.
And subscribe to Patreon, because she needs to pay for
I was gonna
loans.
say, yeah, go to Patreon.
Oh my god, I need money. Yeah. Next big project.
Me too. Me too.
You need that. You need the
Jacob,
YouTube
start a
dollars.
Patreon. The Pokemon Patreon.
Pokemon Patreon.
Nobody follows me. I'm not good.
Yeah, definitely. Umu definitely puts content worthy of Patreoning or patroning their sort of channel. So definitely check her out. Definitely check out all the stuff they do. Yeah, definitely some of the best content out there on YouTube in terms of K-pop content, alongside our own.
Right back at you. Yeah.
Woo!
Advertise us, please.
Too bad PD can't get in on this love fest because he never comes on our show.
That's because we
gotta invite him again.
Dear
we invited
PD.
him once and we couldn't figure it out and we gave up after that. It's totally on us, like you said at KCON.
Dear PD, I wrote you, but you still ain't calling. I left my number, home phone, and pager at the bottom. Yeah, I just need to write stand level letters to PD, and maybe they'll respond.
Oh God, that's the way to run them away from us.
Okay, you can take it out, Jacob.
You never know.
That's it. Jacob already took us out.
Yeah.
You gotta end it.
Just say thank you, goodbye, or something like that. I don't know.
Thank you and goodbye.
Stay popsicle.
Stay throbbingly
popsicle.
If your popsicle's gonna explode, maybe it starts throbbing. But yeah, listen to Popsicle.
That was extremely.
When I first listened to this or saw the title, I'm just like, what the heck is UN Village? Apparently,
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
Apparently,
the Olympic Village or something.
No. Apparently, it's like think like Gangnam in Gangnam style. Like basically, like it's like a really like affluent like neighborhood in